Why did modern art become what it is today? Modern art has been a major polemic in today's society. From Duchamp to Jeff Coons, we all have been witnesses of their works. But is this really art? It's hard to define what art is, especially because it has an inexpressible meaning, like defining the redness of red. This makes the word art part of quallia. This conflict to define what art is has been used to take advantage of itself and a way to make everything an artwork possible. Genesis. Well, let's go to the very beginning with Marcel Duchamp, this artist of the 20th century. After getting tired of formal and figurative work, he got involved with the New York Dadaism. Dadaism was a European anti-art movement which rejected reason and logic, prizing nonsense, irrationality and intuition, as a rupture from traditional art and as a response to World War I. Duchamp, trying to break completely from retinal art, as he called art, that supposedly was just for eye pleasure instead of the mind. He began his search on the ready-made art. Daily used items that the artist chose and established them as art. In 1917 he created his artwork Fountain, just a common or garden urinal. He had previously made the bicycle wheel and the bottle rack, but the fountain was his most famous work. This was the genesis of conceptual art, art in which the concept or idea involved in the work take precedence over traditional aesthetics, technical and material concerns. This makes us get inside a loophole where rhetoric can make anything a piece of art. But let's analyze this phenomenon from three different aspects that have influenced it. Economically. After World War II, the USA got economic success that was a result of war economy and consumerism. Big industrial product brands made people consume massively. Supported by the Madison Avenue publicity revolution and the programmed obsolescence, which forced the consumer to rebuy products. Industrialization of products took away the artisanal value of products. From Ford to Coca-Cola, all became just a technical activity.
We have Levi's, we have designer jeans, we have hamburgers, we have Coca-Cola, we have REO Speedwagon, we have Journey, we have this one, we have that one, and then we go out there and we say, yeah, but we also have neutron bombs and poison gas, so maybe that makes up for it. I mean, it's really kind of sad when you evaluate it that way, because it's the culture and the beautiful things that a society produces. Those are the things that should survive for thousands of years, not the designer jeans.
This infected art, its artistic value, was now bounded to their market value. Andy Warhol used this as a bridge between popular icons and academic art. A Campbell's can or a Coca-Cola bottle could be considered as art and be shown at any museum. That's Duchamp and his ready-mades decades before. Things nowadays are measured by how much they are consumed. Music is measured by how many CDs the artist sells, or the views or streams it gets on YouTube and Spotify, but not by the aesthetic and artistic merits. Some examples are: some totally blue painting sold for more than $40 million, or the $105.4 million serigraph Silver Car Crash by Andy Warhol. All of this is a result of an economic ideology called neoliberalism. Neoliberalism protects our individual freedoms, or maybe we should say privileges. You want to get healthcare or energy problems get solved, let the market take care of it. Paraphrasing Henry Giroux on his book Youth in a Suspect Society. Consumerism is the most important task of the individual. Freedoms are a private matter that will rule over public priorities. All social problems are now individual problems that can be fixed by private solutions. Socially and idiosyncratically, magical thinking. Gentrification of language to get rid of ugliness, pain, effort, sacrifice, and anything that could threaten our personal freedom.
They say they're going to pre-board those passengers in need of special assistance. Cripples! But we don't have any cripples in this country anymore. We have the physically challenged.
We could now be whatever we want to be, from gender to role or occupation protected by political correctness. A self-help and personal improvement culture that looks like a big non-governmental organization. All of this could be reduced by magical thinking. A safe way to think we can change what bothers us and take us away from the safe space without really doing something.
Nothing but kindness in here.
You might call me a pussy, but I won't hear you in my safe space. My safe space.
Bulletproof window.
We can demonize the use of straws because it kills ocean's fauna, but we never face the annoyance to just stop throwing our waste into the ocean. Donating some coins to poor kids after buying expensive gluten-free pasta at a so-called eco-friendly market.
What have you done? You've raised $300 by spending $500,000 on filet mignon and crystal glasses.
Or just criminalize opinions that aren't politically correct, but the ways of blackmailing feelings and avoiding emotional discomfort.
What's the matter with you people? You're sad that people are mean? Well, I'm sorry, the world isn't one big liberal arts college campus.
As part of this ideology, we have been, though, that democracy in arts creation as a right and personal freedom would make us a more humanistic society. Nevertheless, it has been the same failure as the encyclopedism. Having an encyclopedia doesn't make you smarter if you don't have the integral education to properly understand knowledge, as the same in art formation. Democratization of art creation became the democratization of mediocrity. The figure of the genius has disappeared today, but the number of artists has raised incredibly. And if all of these artists can make unique pieces of art from garbage, then they are not unique. Art that has provocation and shock value are now on the museums, but they don't do anything different from an internet meme, and they can't survive outside a museum. A dictatorship of good intentions for an empty social stability. Technocracy. Huxley comments on this on Brave New World. We would become specialized technicians using science and technology to create things without an ethical discussion prior to this. Because as specialized technicians we wouldn't have the integral education or curiosity to ask ourselves if it's ethical or humanistic to develop any kind of technology or science. Just instrumental knowledge.
I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
Technology can develop amazing but also banal amenities, and we shall protect them to once again avoid any kind of unpleasant emotions or hard work. Technic has become a major importance without considering any aesthetic or human values, being cold numbers more important than any philosophy or ideology. Science is a wonderful world that makes us understand the world better, but it won't give us a purpose to live or create. Technology without philosophy will be just a self-satisfaction tool that creates the need for consumerism and social stability, while we avoid any kind of suffering or hard work. Snobbery for brands and slogans. Pieces of art are designated as art because the artist says they are. It doesn't matter if it's just a piece of junk or any random drawing that looks like a 5-year-old made them. The name of the artist has become a brand, and their works just a slogan that is repeated 1,000 times until society accepts it as art. And from a snob and dogmatic point of view, these pieces of art are defended by censoring criticism, telling you that if you don't like it, it's because you don't understand it, even if there's nothing to understand. For example, Hans Christian Andersen's story The Emperor's New Clothes. A short story about two scammers who fooled a superficial emperor and promised him to weave some magic clothes that would be invisible to anyone who's stupid or not fit for the job. When the emperor sent his servants to supervise the creation of the clothes, The servants weren't able to see the clothes, because they didn't exist. But to avoid being called stupid or lose their jobs, they said the clothes were beautiful. So the emperor finally wore the non-existent clothes on a procession through his city. The crowd, trying not to look stupid, cheered, clapped and praised the emperor. But some children yelled that he wasn't wearing anything. The emperor thought they might be right, but he continued to walk slowly and proud, naked through the streets. But why is modern art so popular and keeps being created?
It just sold for $5 billion.
Of course it did. It's brilliant. Oh, it's performance art!
These rich snobs don't know more about art than you. They're mostly just here to make money.
Market value, tax evasion, money laundering and speculation. In 2009's documentary The Great Contemporary Art Bubble, we can see some cases of tax evasion. In 1987, Van Gogh's Lilies and Roses painting was sold for $53.9 million at New York Sotheby's. But the buyer wouldn't have been able to buy it for this price if it wasn't for the loan Sotheby's gave him. Alan Bond had $25 million and the Japanese bidder had around $15 million, so the auction should have stopped at about $26 million. But with the loan by Sotheby's, we have now a bubble of almost $29 million. This way prices for art were raised in an unethical, almost illegal way.
But the fact is, you're looking at a massive price-fixing scheme that benefits wealthy collectors and excludes artists like you.
After New York authorities investigated this case, Sotheby's stopped this kind of credit. But they found a way to keep giving credit in the following years. This way people would be able to buy very expensive art with these loans and speculate that the prices of the art they bought would continue to get higher and higher. In this case it was a Van Gogh, but with modern art you could buy an apple or some trash with a fictional price and speculate on how much the price would rise. Damien Hirst was accused of buying his own work to boost sales.
Ooh, I want to bid on this one. We should all bid on this one.
That would be considered a fraud, since buying his own works to raise the prices and make it look like the sales is a success would make other buyers buy through deception. For tax evasion, big corporations would donate art pieces to their own foundations, so the value of the pieces would be tax deductible.
You owe $40 million in taxes this year.
Oh, what if I donate this painting worth $40 million?
These same principles are used to move big sums of money through art with fictional value. Conclusion. What started as an anti-art movement was now accepted as a new legitimate language, accompanied by the consumerist boom of the last century. This created a window of opportunity for ready-made objects with stratospheric prices, protected under an idiosyncrasy of political correctness and evasion of uncomfortable emotions like suffering and sacrifice. The empress got nothing on. The whispering spread, and then people started pointing and laughing. He's all bare, he's got nothing on. Poor fools, thought the emperor. Of course they can't see my clothes, just proves it. Fools, every single one of them. And slowly, proudly he walked on through the city streets, dressed in nothing but a pair of purple gloves.
Want to see more videos like this one? Subscribe to Artcore channel and share with your friends.